All right, let's talk about digital security. I know, it can feel like this massive, super complicated topic, right? Well, today we're going to cut through all that noise. We're going to break down the most common threats out there and give you a real, practical guide to keeping yourself safe online. You know that feeling, right? We've all been there. You get an email or a text, and something about it just feels a little sketchy. That gut feeling, that little moment of hesitation, that is your best first line of defense. And today, we're going to give that instinct some serious backup with some real knowledge. So let's get on the same page. What is a security threat anyway? Well, in simple terms, it's any potential danger that can find a weak spot, what we call a vulnerability, to get at your data or just mess up your system. And this isn't just for big companies. We're talking about everything from your own laptop to the biggest networks on the planet. All right, let's dive into our first topic, the most common kind of digital invader you're going to run into, and that is malware. Think of it as the catch-all name for all the nasty stuff that sneaks onto your devices and just starts causing chaos. Yeah, the name pretty much gives the game away, right? Malware is just short for malicious software. It's this huge umbrella term for any piece of code that was written with bad intentions. Stuff designed to disrupt your computer, steal your information, or, honestly, just make your life a digital nightmare.
Okay, so malware isn't just one single thing. It's more like a whole family of bad guys, and each one has its own special way of causing trouble. You've got your classic viruses and worms, sneaky Trojans, ransomware that literally holds your files hostage for money, creepy spyware that watches everything you do, and of course, that super annoying adware that just floods your screen with pop-ups.
So let's clear something up that gets a lot of people confused. The difference between a virus and a worm. It all comes down to how they get around. A virus, it's like a parasite. It has to latch onto a clean file, and it can't do anything until you do something, like clicking to open that file. That's how it spreads. A worm, though, oh, that's a whole different beast. It's totally self-sufficient. It can copy itself and just wiggle its way across networks all on its own. No clicks needed. Now, here's a really important thing to understand. Not all threats are about sneaky software. Some of the most dangerous attacks out there don't target your computer's code. They target your brain. They target you. This is where we get into the art of deception, what we call phishing. Seriously, think of phishing as a mind game. It's psychological warfare. The attacker isn't trying to hack their way in. They're trying to con you into just opening the front door and handing them the keys. They'll pretend to be your bank, your boss, maybe a streaming service you use, anything they can think of to gain your trust and get you to give up your private info. So what does this actually look like, out in the real world? Well, a phishing attack almost always kicks off with some kind of message, an email, a text that's specifically designed to make you panic. They want you to act fast, without thinking. Yeah, you'll see a subject line that just makes your stomach drop. Something like, urgent action required, or your account is suspended. See what they're doing? They're using fear and a sense of urgency as weapons. The whole goal is to get you to react emotionally, not logically. And the story is always the same. There's a huge, urgent problem, and the only way to fix it is to click their special link and enter your password. So, what do? I'll tell you what you do. You stop, you take a breath, and you do not click that link. Ever. Okay, so up to now, we've mostly been talking about attacks from random strangers out on the internet. But what about the threats that don't have to break down the door? The ones that are already inside? Yeah, those can be some of the most damaging of all. And here's the fundamental difference. An outsider, a hacker, has to find a way to break in. But an insider, we're talking an employee, a contractor, anyone with legitimate access, they already have the keys. This is what makes them so dangerous and so hard to spot. And it doesn't even matter if they're doing it on purpose or if it's a complete accident. The damage can be absolutely massive. So you see, these threats exist on a huge spectrum. It's not just about one person getting a tricky email. We're talking about huge, sophisticated operations. You've got denial of service attacks. Think of that like a giant mob of computers all trying to cram through one doorway at the same time, shutting a website down. Then there's the man-in-the-middle attack, which is basically a digital eavesdropper secretly listening in on your conversations. And then you have the really scary stuff, advanced persistent threats, or APTs. These are the digital spies of the world, quietly lurking inside a network for months, even years, just slowly stealing data. Okay, wow. After hearing all that, you might be feeling just a little bit paranoid. And you know what? That's good. A little paranoia is healthy. But now, we're going to channel that feeling and turn it into power. Let's talk about what you can do. Let's build your digital shield. So, being proactive really comes down to 4 basic things. It's your personal defense checklist. Number 1, get a good antivirus program and, this is key, keep it updated. Number 2, keep your operating system and all your apps patched. Those updates you ignore, they're often plugging up major security holes. Number 3, make sure your firewall is on. It's like a bouncer for your computer. And number 4, my absolute favorite, develop that healthy paranoia we talked about. Just be skeptical. If something looks or feels off, trust your gut.
But let's be realistic. What if something gets through anyway? Despite you doing everything right, it can happen to the best of us. The most important thing in that moment isn't to blame yourself. It's to know exactly what to do next.
Right. So you have that sinking feeling in your stomach. Yep, I'm infected. Now what? Okay, first rule, don't panic. The second rule is to be calm and methodical. You need to contain the problem and then get rid of it.
Look, you can run antivirus scans, and sometimes that works. But modern malware is really good at hiding. So if you want to be 100% certain that the infection is gone, sometimes you have to go for the nuclear option. And that means wiping your hard drive completely and starting over from scratch.
And if you have to do this, the order you do things in is absolutely critical. If you mess this up, you'll just get reinfected. So listen carefully. Step 1, back up your critical data, your documents, your photos. Step 2, and I cannot stress this enough, unplug your computer from the network. Disconnect the Ethernet cable, turn off the Wi-Fi. It needs to be totally isolated. Then you reinstall your operating system, all the patches, and your antivirus from a clean source, like a CD or a USB stick. Get that firewall turned on, set a new super strong administrator password, and only then, after all of that is done, are you allowed to plug it back into the internet. And all of this really brings us to the fundamental truth about cybersecurity. Look, we can have the best software in the world, the highest digital walls you can imagine, but at the end of the day, the biggest vulnerability isn't the software. It's us. It's human error. It all comes down to that one accidental click, that one easy-to-guess password, that one moment where we just aren't paying attention. So, I want to leave you with this one last thought to chew on. We're all pretty used to seeing that pop-up that says, hey, you need to update your software, and we click OK. But the most important security tool you have doesn't get automatic updates. It's your own brain, your own awareness. So, I'll just ask you this. Your software is up to date, but is your mindset?